Recording.
Okay, I'm out here in Casino Motorsports Park. I'm on the white 470. And I've done the countershaft seal on it. And I'm just out taking it for a little ride around to test the efficacy of my repair. I think I'm going to bleed these brakes on this just to give it a little bit more feel. It's a bit breezy. This bike has a little different feel than my bike. The 140 stock size rear may be the main reason for that. I don't know. Okay, so I gave it a good circle and I'm gonna just get this on video real quick to check it. Doesn't look like it's douching oil, so I'm gonna go on a complete circle, then park it and see if I have any drippies. This isn't gonna be an exciting ride, but it is what it is. I am digging this standard seat concepts seat that's on here. It's wide, and the one I picked up for a deal is I think it's the tall seat, which has got more cushion, but it's not got as wide of a footprint. Yeah, I'm really battling the wind. So my thought is, oh, look, I've already gone 3 miles. I don't know if you can see it. I've gone 3 miles. Yeah, I'll wave at you. I've gone 3 miles, and just to be cautious, I oil changed this again. I was having some issues with some of the shifting down, and I ended up with a dragging clutch. I'm an idiot, and I improperly tensioned the clutch cable, and I had those heavy-duty clutch springs on there that really made it for quite a grab on the handle. Now in a racing application that'd probably be okay, But for day-to-day driving or riding, that kind of suck. So anyway, we got it tensioned and it got it set properly. And it's not backing off for us like it was before. Because I'm an idiot. That's why we had that problem. But so far the engine's running pretty doggone good, so can't really complain about that. Now I'm going 65. I'm going 65 on this 470 stroker. Well, the official Ronnie Mac speed is 69 right now. And again, sorry for any wind noise, because I'm bucking right into it. It's 15 to 20 mile an hour, maybe gusts higher. So it's like I'm going 90 right now, and I'm not trying to hunch down or anything. I read, and I've been following this thread on the Thumper Talk forum about a guy that replaced his sprocket on his DRZ, and after that he is having all sorts of trouble. The only bits of information that I have is that he broke it. He broke the nut loose with a breakover bar or his torque wrench, and then he retorqued it with a torque wrench, and he had a partner, a buddy, helping him with it, and they were using the rear brake with the chain still installed to do both of the tightenings and breaking loose, which is pretty smart. However, when he tightened up his nut, it was to 100 foot-pounds, and the manual says 79 and a half. And what he's having trouble with is his clutch, I think, fully will not disengage. So he can't come to a stop while in first gear. It won't do it. It wants to keep rolling forward. So it fully won't engage his clutch, I think is what I meant to say. So one of the things I kind of got onto him about, since I didn't have that information, was, well, were you the guy that used the Ugga-Duggas and just impacts it on and off and all that stuff? And he said specifically, I wanted to know how he removed it. The only other bit of information that he gave on this was they put the bike on its clutch side down. So they laid it over. And I really don't understand the concept of doing that. But for whatever reason, he's got big issues with his clutch after the sprocket. I mean, literally 30 minutes before the bike's clutch disengaged properly. This is kind of a wetland from the Nanisca River heading towards Belle Plaine. So the river in this flat area moving around quite a little bit over geologic time. So over the floods and whatnot that we've had over the years, that water goes up and over the road very easily. So anyway, that guy is having trouble with it, and the only thing that I can come up with is he possibly over-torqued it, and he may have caused some serious damage. Hopefully he just damaged the nut and the sprocket, and it's just giving himself some misalignment on his countershaft to his main shaft, and of his transmission, and he hasn't ground it down so far that he's caused permanent damage and has to split the cases. Hope not. That could be the case. I don't know. Pun intended. This is Big Bad Belle Plaine. There's been a burger place over here on the left a few times. I think I've only stopped and had a burger from them a time or two. This is Easter Sunday, so I wouldn't anticipate a whole lot going on down here. This is where I went to school in this town. Still not douching oil, so that's good. All new school buildings that my tax dollars got to go towards. Hello. I voted against it, by the way. Alright, I'm up to 10 miles. Still not dumping oil, so that's good. I did put a new countershaft seal on this, but the kit did not come with a new, oh crap, I don't know what to call that thing. It's kind of a spacer. It's a spacer for the main, or the countershaft and the oil seal, and there's a, or the countershaft seal, and there's an O-ring on the inside of it that seals that as well. On the Yamahas that I've worked on, the O-ring goes on the shaft. This one goes on the inside of the bushing piece. And it just kind of hangs out right there. But I replaced all of those on this, and hopefully that ends up with the result, because I mean, it's a real bummer to do all that work and have a drip of oil. I mean, this thing isn't a Harley, so it should, looking for that 6th gear all the time. Don't you pull out in front of me, sucker. So you wouldn't expect it to leak oil. After all, I worked on it. It's always something. Always something. So I'm thinking a good 15, not quite 20 miles. I might do another loop around the casino and get it closer to 20. Might be just the test that this needs to determine what I'm going to do or the fate of this. The big deal that I can say about this 470 is the mid-range power increase that this has. It's just a real nice mid-range. You know, it's got some power down low, and feels like a different bike, and it should, for how much person spends on this stuff. Because again, it's the 434 big bore. The 434 big bore. So that's a 94 millimeter piston and a stroker crank. Now, a lot of times you think that you have the crank, a stroker, you're talking about a longer rod, and you might have to mill out on your cases and this and that and other places to create clearance. The only place that you really have to check your clearance is the relationship between the crank at the rod bearing and the balancing shaft. You have to have a millimeter of clearance, and this had over that. So that's not much clearance, but you know the saying, if you don't check and you don't have the clearance, it'll make clearance. I don't think that it would last very long if it had to do that. So the thing that we would have to do is do a little bit of milling. I don't know if I'd even get with my aftermarket or my knockoff Dremel or not. Probably just go at it with a file at certain points once I identify it. But on this one and on mine, I didn't have any trouble with it. This engine didn't have any case protectors on it. That's really important on a DRZ, especially if it's going to be an S model. You're going to be on the trail. But this one had I think they roasted their clutch to some extent and just rode it anyway, because it had been dumped on its side, as a trail model would. But it got dented in, and it affected the depth of the thrust. For the clutch, and so there is a notable point of contact where, again, the pressure plate was making healthy contact or unhealthy contact with the clutch cover, not to be confused with the clutch side case cover. So we just got a replacement one, and I've got the Thumper Talk case protectors on here. Okay, I'll wait for this car, see what they're going to do. I might have to wait for two cars. Yeah, the wind's blowing me around a little bit. Didn't leave a puddle of oil, so I think I'm still okay. Oh yeah, feeling that wind pushing me somewhat sideways. Something else that we did with this bike is we put a radiator cap on there that displays the temperature, Now we're up to 16 miles. So by the time it's all said and done, I get back to my house, I'll have 20 miles easy. I hope that, going back to that other story there from Thumper Talk, I hope that the guy just backs the nut off of it and retorques it, and maybe gives it a couple slams and it readjusts to where it needs to be. I don't think it's going to do that. But it's just kind of the moral of the story. If that is what caused it, is to pay attention to your torque settings on what it is that you're working on. Many people have gotten away with just the ugga-dugga or just impact it to the moon. But, you know, as the saying goes, the bolt gets real good and tight until it's not. Then what? In this case, it would be the nut. Or the meme. Look at the look on your face when the thread gets really tight, then loose when you're tightening it. Holy moly, someone knocked down the turnpike sign. That one hurt them. I'm going to take the two-stroke out tonight and do some wheelie practice. I've got another mount for this, a Senna, on the way that's going to go on my dirt bike helmet, so I can record some of my progress. I'm excited to share that progress with you. The wind moved me a little bit to the side. Yeah, my wheelies suck. Okay, well that brings the end to this video, and I hope that somebody stayed with me the whole time. And you know, I don't think I'm going to do these as often, but go ahead and comment. Let me know what you think.